Welcome back to another episode of a power tool review, which is probably my least popular video ever, but I do like free power tools. Wild Badger has sent me this 40 volt 3-in-1 trimmer. It comes with a trim head with a gnarly blade as well as a string trimmer and 2 other attachments.
All can cut off limbs, I think, probably.
Yes, but this is a limb pruner, and then we have a hedge trimmer as well. I've done a review for the Wild Badger 40 volt chainsaw. This is the 40 volt trimmer, but it uses an entirely different power system. We're going to do the unboxing on this thing, then we're going to put it through its paces. I'm going to show you what I think, and then we're going to do something that you're not going to find on another channel, which is a design critique. I am a professional industrial designer, and I used to work at Milwaukee Tool, so we're going to go over this thing from a design perspective and see where they could improve. All right, let's get to the unboxing.
Can't. Yeah, there we go.
So this is the 40 volt battery that I got from Wild Badger when I did their chainsaw review. And what I'm really confused about is that the trimmer says it's 40 volt, but these batteries say 20 volt. Oh dude, that's... Okay, so you have to use both batteries at the same time. That's how they're doing it. That's pretty annoying. Oh, that's pretty cool. This little quick connect here. Again, I wanted to use this 40 volt battery that I already own with a 40 volt charger, but instead this is how they're calling this a 40 volt system with 2 20 volt batteries with an entirely different charger. Instructions are a little confusing, but it looks like this piece and this piece only go with this and the nut if you're going to use the string trimmer. I think this just threads on here. And again, it's reverse threaded. So you just go like this. Let's see how long this takes. So I don't have any way of directly comparing this to anything, but it definitely feels like a gas trimmer. And in terms of the overall power, it definitely rips through stuff a lot more aggressively than a typical like 18 volt trimmer that you'd see from like Ryobi or something. But let's try some of the other attachments and see how this thing holds up. To remove this, I'm just gonna put something in here to prevent the shaft from spinning. We're gonna remember that it's reverse threaded, so you gotta tighten it to loosen it and vice versa. Now, we're going to try this blade. What's a little confusing here is I don't know which way to put it on. The blade shows which way it should rotate, but I have no idea which way this is rotating. Okay, so there's a creek right over there, but this is running to it, and right now we have this monster brush that is clogging up the culvert that comes out right over there. So we're going to try to use the brush cutter on this thing and see how it holds up. Well, that definitely chopped through these branches that are about as big as my thumb. No problem. Hopefully that should help the water move a little faster through here. Here are some dead branches. We're going to see how thick we can chop through here. That attachment is definitely gnar. It's cutting through inch-thick branches. So I think now we're going to try the pole saw and the hedge trimmer. So I don't have any hedges, but I do want to make this a little wider, so we're going to see what this does. Way better. Now I can walk through here. I've gotten a request from the boss that we need to cut down all these plants here. So we're going to be using the hedge trimmer since I already took the string trimmer off.
of nice for the hill how it can adjust the angle of the blade.
All right, next one. We got one more operation here, Sarah.
Oh boy, oh boy. Is that like one of those little branch trimming?
Little chainsaw boy here.
Wow. Okay, Bruce Campbell, that's enough of that.
So this did not come with any bar oil, and I don't have any, so we're not going to use this much. But I am going to cut a couple dead branches off this thing just to show you guys how well it works. It's pretty feisty for a pole saw. All right, now it's time for a design critique. Again, I used to work at Milwaukee Tool. I'm going to show you some of the stuff I designed right now. So, as for the design itself, I think we're going to start with the attachments and the functional ends. Now there's typically more function than form on these ends, but there's still some things they could do to make this a little better. Right now, you can see that this chain cover, for example, on the chainsaw is gloss plastic. I have had this thing for maybe a couple hours, and it's already scratching from dirt. This should be MT11020 or MT11030. It should be textured so that it does not show the dirt and the wear as much. And then the other thing they could do is just strengthen the design a little bit. It's okay. I think that the quality is great here, but they should just make it look a little tougher on all this stuff. This, I think, is the weakest looking part of the whole thing. They could throw some bosses in here and make this a little cooler looking. We're gonna go over here. You can see this molded handle has these voids here. That's kind of cool. I mean, it's necessary if you want a smooth, continuous form on this side. If you did a completely thick part, it would A, use a lot of material, and B, it would take a lot longer to cool in the tool. But they did get away with it right here, so it kind of makes me wonder if this is just a cost-saving measure or if it was just to speed up production. The quality of the plastic parts themselves do have a bit of flash and mismatch on the tooling here. So you can see that there's quite a visible seam there. Now we're gonna get to this part, and this is where I have the biggest gripe with this whole thing. First off, this is a 40-volt product. You need two 20-volt batteries, which I don't like. It should be using this battery. They already have this battery. There's no reason that this should have two batteries. This is really hokey. In my opinion, this should slide in here, and then you have a 40-volt system with a 40-volt system. The design of the trimmer itself, you can see they've textured this, which is good because it hides flaws in the design. It also hides sink marks. Right here you can see there's a boss right there, and you can see there's another square boss right here. That texturing isn't quite hiding it, but it's helping it a lot. But again, they're doing a gloss right here, and I don't know why. The other thing that is really a big problem with this that I know is going to be a potential issue in the future is this trigger right here. These triggers on all these string trimmers snap. If you look at Echo, I actually worked for Echo Power Tools as well, purely to redesign this portion of their trimmer because this kept snapping off. If you throw this in the back of a truck or something, and something goes at it from this angle, this will easily bust off, and then your tool is completely useless. So for Echo, what we did is we added a span of plastic in here that could then go into a slot here. There was a lot of development so that you would avoid pinching your hand, but it ultimately resulted in a lot more of a durable product. The overall design itself is fine, but you can see they put a sticker right here on this seam, which is fine, but they should have probably had a boss around here to help protect the logo like they're doing on the batteries. If I put this battery right here on a dirty surface, everything around the sticker is going to touch, but the sticker itself is going to be protected. Same with these batteries actually, but for some reason this tool, which again is only a few hours old, the sticker's already getting quite a bit beat up, and they could have solved this problem just by adding a raised portion of plastic around there, and there's a way to do that that's tool safe. Down here you do have some visible bosses, which is a little hokey, but it is on the bottom. I don't know, it's all right, but basically I think this is a well-made tool, but I think the design could use some tweaks. And Wild Badger, you guys should hit my website right up here. It's called groovedesign.com. If you want to work together, I would love to help improve these things and make you better looking, better performing product. All right, so there is the 40 volt Wild Badger, but for some reason this just says Badger. It doesn't say Wild Badger, even though the packaging, does it say Wild Badger?
Wild Badger, and also I think it's funny, it says 20 volt on the packaging, but 40 volt on, yeah. Can it run off of one?
That's a good question. Let's see. I bet you it won't. You pull the thing off the end here.
Not if you're gonna have that in my face again. Nope. I think it's particularly gonna be helpful for our property here. I feel like the different attachments, and they're pretty heavy duty. I was a little worried that it was gonna be wimpy and not be able to do what we need with like the, you know, the Southwesty type plants that get a little,
Gnar.
yeah, a little brambly.
Yeah, it does very much feel like a gas trimmer when you're using it in terms of the power and the torque. It rips through stuff pretty good. So onward to the beer can decimation, and then we will leave it at that. Wow, that was so sharp it didn't even tip over the can. All right, this is kind of alcohol abuse, so I better finish this thing off. All right, till next time, dudes.